we were taught to, what goes on in our house stays in our house. You don't talk about what goes on in our house.
It still happens till this day in this generation, but I don't think it's to the point to where it was back when we were growing up.
They running to the feds.
For those who don't know who Shannon is, let's break it down.
As always, like I tell people, I'm from MMW. I'm from my mother's womb.
But if he were to put his pride to the side and have a real man conversation,
That part.
I can respect you more.
Don't play with me. I'm creeping up through your neighborhood in the back street. Don't play with me. I'm coming.
Me and my family, we just got finished feeding the homeless.
That's just the state. You play with me, nigga. Chop me, eat you like a steak. Okay, that's cornflakes. That nigga fake. Plastic nigga, that's plastic. That.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode on the Talking Personal Podcast with your host, Shy, the one, the only, Z. Bogo. Bogo ain't supposed to be on here, but goddamn it, he on here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's episode is gonna be dope, man. It's gonna be one of a kind. You know why? Because I was able to run into an old time friend, a young lady that I was in the Young Marines with. A young lady that we about to go and take a deep dive conversation with. You know, on here on Talking Personal, we take those deep dive conversations and we talk personal, baby. We don't hold nothing back. So, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Shannon Jordan. What's up, Shannon? Talk to me. How you doing this evening, man?
Hey.
So, you know, we've been talking, I guess, now for the last, 2 weeks, maybe. I found you on Facebook. I told you I've been looking for you for years because we was in Young Marines together.
We were.
For those of you who don't know what Young Marines is, it's just a whole nother ROTC, but in the civilian world, outside of your schools and colleges. All right. So Shannon and I, we were in Young Marines together. And so we had a great relationship, friendship. I ain't gonna say relationship because Shannon had her boo thing.
Simplified, do or die, baby.
We had a great friendship, and so I always wanted to know what happened to her because she was just one of them stellar jarhead Young Marines. So I always just knew that she was about to go and do 20 years plus in the Marines. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be able to break down what Shannon actually did. You ready, Shannon?
Ooh, it's a lot of breakdown.
Because listen, ladies and gentlemen, she told me, listen, don't call me Shannon. It's actually Sunny, but
It's Sunny
we gonna
now,
get to
baby.
Sunny. But
yeah, we're gonna get to Sunny. But
for those who don't know who Shannon is, let's break it down. Because I remember you from living off Benner Road. I remember coming through, and it was you and all your siblings and Mom Dukes and your stepfather and your small apartment. So, like, take us through that. Like, how was that growing up? Eventually having a single mom, but how was that growing up with all these different siblings? Everybody didn't have their own room and all that. So take us through that. Like, where you from? Who you with? Like, take us through the whole thing. We talking personal, baby.
I mean, as always, like I tell people, I'm from MMW. I'm from my mother's womb.
Yeah.
Everybody in DC like to claim hoods. I'm from Mission Park, I'm from 21st, I'm from, we all from hoods in DC. And one thing that I've always claimed was, like I tell people off jumps, I'm from MMW, my mother's womb. Damn that. We don't own no land where we live at, these apartment buildings and complexes and stuff like that. We don't own none of that. So I always tell people, where you from? I'm from MMW, my mother's womb.
So how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I am the eldest of 5.
Okay.
I am the eldest of 5.
So we were trying to talk about it before coming on set. I only remember like 3.
3.
When we were in Young Marines, I remember it was you and some small little youngins.
Right? Okay.
I don't know how many, but we were talking off camera, and you was kind of just taking me through like how you were the one doing the cooking for the family and all that good stuff. Your mom was a teacher, and so forth. So like kind of take me through that because it was just me. I didn't have any siblings in the household. Of course, I have a sister, but I didn't have any siblings in the house with me, so it was just me. So I did all the cooking and cleaning too. But tell me, how was that having to cook for not just yourself, but also the whole household? Was that something that you wanted to do or you had to do?
Both. I would say both. So growing up originally, my family, you know, I was the only child. My mom got married. She married some guy. He adopted me, and that's why you and a lot of my friends know me as Shannon Jordan. My stepfather adopted me within that time period because I was tired of getting teased about my middle name. So my original middle name, or I'm sorry, my original last name would be Shannon Wiggins. But when my mother got married, it became Shannon Jordan. My father adopted me. My mom's husband adopted me. And then I came upon a brother and then all of my other sisters and other siblings. It was hard, but like I said, they loved each other and they began to build a family.
Right.
So eventually I became Shannon Jordan, and that's how that became a part.
So how did you end up taking the role of having to pretty much take care of the household? Because at your age, cooking for, 7+, because it's five kids and then 2 adults, what happened that you end up having to take that role as cooking? And at what age?
Okay, so come to find out that my stepfather had a gambling issue. He would like to go out. You know, back in the day, it wasn't uncommon for our parents to go to what was the bus station back in the day, like Minnesota Avenue.
Yeah. They're playing chess and shit.
Yeah, like they would go and catch the bus up to Delaware, go gambling.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like, it wasn't uncommon for our grandparents to go to Delaware, Dover.
They was going over Dover, Ocean City, go
Ocean
gamble.
City, right, to go gamble, hit the slot machines, the penny machines, and stuff like that. And my mother was never into gambling.
Right.
Even before she met my stepfather, gambling was never a big thing of my mother's. So even when she met my stepfather, like, his family would have, like, card parties, which is the reason why a lot of us learned how to play spades.
Yeah.
Spades, Uno, you know, stuff like that, to gamble. And my mom wasn't into that. But when she met my stepfather, it became kind of a way of life. Like, oh, we're going to Dover this weekend.
So since you was the oldest, you just pretty much had to take the responsibility. All right, look after your brothers and sisters. We be back, sort of thing.
So even before then, it was, we'll leave you, your younger brother, with, you know, the grandparents on his side, because my mother wasn't introduced to that part. My mother's family is from the Old South,
Right.
where you stay at home, you work, you take care of the family and things like that. So my mother wasn't introduced to the gambling part until she met my stepfather.
Yeah.
And then that's when it was like, oh, well, we can leave her with grandma for the weekend, you know, and my younger brother at the time, you know, for the weekend. And we go to Dover, Denver, you know, gamble the money away and try to hope for something better.
Right.
And it didn't always work out. My mother was never taught to gamble. And
So she pretty much was just following her husband's lead. Whatever her husband wanted to do, that's pretty much what she did.
And that was something that was taught through her, you know, with these Southern traditions. It's
Yeah.
like, find the man with the job or find the man with the income, follow them. They're supposed to be the man is supposed to be the quote unquote lead of the household, and they're supposed to provide.
But did you at one point feel as though that he wasn't playing that role as he should have? Like,
I did.
how was he as a stepfather? Because I had a stepfather, and my stepfather, he was great. That's a part of when, that's when my life was great as a kid. That's when my life was great with my mom and my stepfather, because, you know, he had money. We lived in nice houses, and because he was a drug dealer and had that money, we were good. But was that the same experience for you?
So for me, it wasn't the same experience. During that time, I was actually molested.
By your stepfather?
No,
Okay.
I was actually molested by cousins
Okay.
because we were left in the care of an older relative that couldn't necessarily keep eyes on us. You know what I mean? So during that time of my life, and little to be known, even probably still to this day, of my mother's not knowledge, I was molested by cousins my age, because we were being left in the care of older family members, so our parents can go to Dover and Delaware, you know, and stuff like that. Like, oh, we got a couple of dollars, let's try to double our money, like
Right.
blah 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 blah. So during that time, myself, honestly, I was being molested by older cousins. Like, hey, touch me here, do this, do that. You know, grandma's not going to find out. And then when the parents will come home Saturday mornings, early Saturday mornings, or early Sunday mornings from their trip, you know, it was something that wasn't spoke of among the children's, but there was money to be made or money to be lost.
So were you scared as a child to say something, or you didn't want that confrontation? Like, why you never spoke up?
So I can honestly say I spoke up once. There was one weekend I can recall. I was a child. The parents had went to Dover, you know, gamble or whatever. And a cousin of mine, I've always been a tomboy. Like, I've always loved sports. I've always loved to play sports, things like that. And they was like, oh, Shannon, you can't play because you're a girl. And a cousin of the stepfather of mine literally spat in my face and was like, you can't play with us. You don't know what you're doing. And I'm like, I'm literally out here calling plays.
Were y'all the same age?
Yeah, like, no, I could say maybe I was maybe a year and a half older than him. But because he felt that I was married into this family, you know, like, he was a boy. Like I said, it was a boy thing. Like,
Right.
the boys always played in the yard, and I've always felt like I've never been too light to play with the boys.
Right.
And he spat in my face, and I took a brick and was like, you think I'm too young to play with you guys? You think just because I'm a girl that I can't play with you guys? And I took the brick and I threw it to his back because he spat in my face.
Right. So, you know, we were talking off camera, and I told you that recently I've been, you know, told that I needed to indulge in a little therapy, and you explained to me that you're currently taking therapy, but therapy was something that you needed
Yeah.
back as a kid.
Yeah.
So, if you can remember,
Yeah.
because you may not remember as a kid, but as a kid, do you feel as though, one, did you really need therapy, and two, did it help you to get through? Because and it's funny because Jamal and I we were having this conversation last night, and I was kind of explaining to him, we were having a little personal conversation, and the whole molestation thing had came up.
Yeah.
And I had told him that, you know, back in the day, our parents and grandparents, you know, they kind of came from that 70, 80, 60, 50, you know, range. So a lot of things were covered up, you know, although
Yeah.
we brought certain situations up they overlooked it and it was swept under the rug because it was all about quote unquote family. And so, do you feel as though that the therapy helped you as a kid, or did you feel like you was pawned off just so your parents or your grandparents didn't have to deal with what you were telling them?
So for that, like I said, I will say it's a catch-22. I've been in therapy. I've gone through emotional therapy. I've gone through anger management therapy. I've gone through psychological therapy. I've gone through PTSD. I've been through the therapies. So if you want to go back to then, because like my mother has always recommended therapy. My mom has, you could say my mom has always been a single parent. And she's always felt like that I've needed somebody other than her to talk to.
Yeah.
Which I agree on. Like sometimes there are things that you are willing to share with a therapist that you're not willing to share with your parents.
Yeah.
So I would say going back at that standpoint, when I was in therapy, it was more so anger management. Like my mother's a school teacher, so she's always felt like, you know, you need another outlet. So during that point, anger management therapy.
You remember how old you were?
When I first started going through anger management therapy, I could say the earliest memory of anger management therapy might have been about 10.
Okay. So your anger management, and we're gonna kind of unravel this because now you got me with the flashbacks and got me over here thinking. But tonight it's about you. We unraveling Shannon Jordan. But do you feel as though that your anger was, one, built up because of the things that you were going through, and two, was your anger from a standpoint of, I'm telling y'all what's going on with me, but you totally ignoring what the fuck I'm telling you? Or was it just I'm acting? Because you know I can recall back in the day. You know, it was always, for me, it was always like there was an excuse as to why children behaved the way they did. And again, back in, you know, the 70s, 80s, and 90s, I'm not going to say it was a norm, but we were introduced to things much earlier. It still happens till this day in this generation, but I don't think it's to the point to where it was back when we were growing up, because now us being the parents that we are and we've gone through, we're protectors. We're not parents that hear what you're saying and we just, all right, we sweep it. Nah, hold the fuck up. What you just say to me?
Exactly.
So back in the day, we didn't have that. So do you feel as though that your anger came from, like, where do you feel as though your anger, like, can you, like, remember where your anger was coming? Was it that?
No, you're absolutely right. So you got to think about, my birthday is August 19th, 1989. So you might as well say I'm a 90s baby. We were taught to, what goes on in our house stays in our house. Yeah. You don't talk about what goes on in our house. Right. Even if I send your ass to therapy, you don't talk about what goes on in our house, because why? Our parents were in a fear of they. Yeah. And when I say they, and I'm going to put in quotation marks, how this comes out on camera, they, and I'm going to be blunt with this, they, as in the white man, are going to take you away from me, right, because of you expressing of what is going on in our house, right, in our household. So we have always been taught, do not talk about what goes on in our household, to a certain extent. Right. And even nowadays, like with my daughter, I'm trying to learn this, let's talk about things, because we didn't have that. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to learn that and implement that with my daughter. But yes, that is absolutely where a lot of my anger, my pain, my frustration comes from, because we were never able to have an opinion.
Hold up. No, we ain't gonna speed past this. You said
Oh, I'm sorry.
no. You just said something. You said come from, which means still present to this day.
Yes, yes. Still present to this day, because there are still things that I have to tell my daughter, shut up. Because they will take you away from me. And that is a thing, and this can be completely off a topic, but like I said, I've even posted this on my own social media a couple of days ago. Oil and water don't mix. How do you think they came up with lava lamps? We, as people of color, not just black people, but Hispanic people, anybody who is not of this pale race, we are not allowed to talk about our feelings. We are not allowed to express our feelings. We are not allowed without them wanting to say that it's something wrong.
Yeah. Or medication.
Or medication, which I've been there, and that's a totally different subject.
No. We're gonna talk
But
about
yeah,
that.
and we will get on that.
We was talking about that.
We were.
And I told you, hold up, I
It's
don't
a
want to hear
totally-
about it. Let's talk about that on camera.
Yeah, we will.
Let's dive into it right now. Let's get right into it.
But it's a totally different subject, because they, as in quotation marks, are quick to put us on medication. They are quick to be on medication. I have been on medication. I have, as a mother, and it did not feel good.
Now before we get to the adulthood, were you on
I was gonna
medication
say, we
as a
can-
kid?
No, medication as a child, no.
Okay.
And this is where my anger came from.
Okay.
And I learned to express my anger through sports.
That's what I was getting to. Go
I
ahead.
tried to learn to express my anger through sports. But I've been in therapy as a child. My mother is a teacher. She's like, maybe you need somebody to talk to, blah, blah, blah. But still, at the same token, my mother is still monitoring what I'm saying to this therapist. Why?
Yeah.
Because she's afraid that this person is going to take me away from her because of what I'm feeling and what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Like I said, we can go back, we can do
No, I
other
think
episodes. But
we going in a great direction. So you went through therapy.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of helped, but it really didn't, because you were in there speaking to this therapist, but you also had to withhold information.
Mm-hmm.
So you were getting some things out, but not everything.
Mm-hmm.
How in the hell were you strong enough to continue to provide for the family? Well, not necessarily provide, but provide in the instance of taking care of your siblings, and then also be stellar. Because I remember you was like that when it come down to sports. So
Yeah.
how in the hell did you like, for me, when I played football and soccer and all that good stuff,
I played
I
lacrosse,
would
soccer.
kick that damn ball so hard, because that's the anger that I'm
That's
trying
that
to
anger,
get out.
that's that
So
feeling. You're absolutely right, and that's literally exactly what it is. And even as an adult today, that's what it is. It's putting that fire and that fuel and that whatever I can't tell my therapist. I played lacrosse and I played soccer. You don't see people of color playing sports like
Right.
that. But when they see people of color like us playing sports and they see that aggression, that's where it comes from. I cannot tell you that I don't have enough money to feed my family. We have to eat oodles and noodles, as a dinner, and try to mix something with it to make it stretch to get through the next couple of weeks.
were there ever times where you all didn't have food?
There were several times where we didn't have food. There are even times now as an adult, and I'm 34 years old, and I'm like, how am I going to feed my child? What am I going to feed my child? How is this going to work?
Yeah.
And people ask me, how can you run on a treadmill for an hour
Yeah.
and not have no mind conscience of what's going on?
Yeah.
This is my anger, this is my plea. But these are special people that are able to dig into that emotion and tap into that. Because if not, what are we? We're going back into drugs, selling sex, scamming, scheming, and trying to make a way
Right.
out of what is going on here.
I know for me, although I don't have to, at this point in my life, I don't never have to really, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
But because of my past and what I've gone through, I always feel like I have to be in survival mode. Like I'm often asked, why in the hell do you go so hard? Like, why are you working the way you're working when you're good? And I have to explain, you don't understand where I came from.
Exactly.
This is not something that I just learned. This has
Yeah.
always been instilled in me because I've always had to be in survival mode. Why? Because I had a mother who was on drugs. If she wasn't high, she was at work, which means I was at home by myself.
Exactly.
That's why I know how to cook and do other things that I know how to do because I was forced as a kid to have to survive. And so that's carried on into my adult livelihood. But let's move on to Young Marines, right? That's where you and I met each other.
Oh boy.
You actually have broken down and
So we're going back. We're going back
yeah.
again. Yeah.
We're going back to the 05, man.
Oh boy.
So you've actually
we can take it back a little further. Yeah.
you actually
we can say
and you know what's crazy though?
Yeah, 05, yeah.
You know what's crazy?
¿Qué pasó?
People don't understand our strength.
Uy.
They don't understand our strength. And I say that because now that I look back and I think, and it's probably going to fuck you up, but I remember those times where your mother used to come through in the minivan. And I would be like, damn, she got a car. I gotta go get on the subway.
Yeah.
So you just never know another person's livelihood. You never know what another person is really going through. And this is dope. This is why I said this episode is gonna be dope because now I got somebody that actually understands what the fuck I went through.
Yeah. On
but
that fucking
also
subway,
I was
people
that
taking
person
you home. Yeah.
who you would never know because I was so fucking strong.
Yeah.
Because I had to be.
Yeah.
Not because I wanted to.
Because
but that's all I
had
knew,
to
and
be.
I had to.
Exactly, because that's all you know.
Right.
Is not necessarily a choice. It's the fact of the matter that you have to take care of you and your siblings. Unlike like me, I'm the eldest of 5, so it was me going to school all day. First of all, let's talk about getting up early and getting to school on time because your school was calling to make sure that you were there.
Yeah.
So,
But were you just getting yourself together, or
no,
did you
but
have
that's
to make sure?
and that's what I was going to
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Like, if depending on the time of the year, like I was getting up, making sure my sister's hair was combed, their bags were packed, my brother, my sister, everybody was out the door, and then I'm making sure I get out the door to school.
Yeah.
And then I got to go through school all day. Not to mention that there are other students as well that got stuff going on. You know what I mean? So it's not just me. I'm dyslexic. I have an IUP. So I'm in special education. So I'm in my classes. I'm taking other classes as well to make sure that I can pass. Because why? I have this quote-unquote IEP, special education, independent learning aspect, which a lot of students nowadays have.
Right.
I'm dyslexic, which a lot of people...
Explain what that is, because you know what? And I've heard this word.
Dyslexia?
I've heard it a lot, but my cousin,
Ooh.
she just broke it down to me probably at the beginning of the school year, because I'm hard on my daughter,
Yeah.
and I'm hard on her because she lives a different lifestyle than I did,
Ditto.
and so
Ditto.
there are certain times, and often, and actually that's what we at right now. She's lucky that your daughter's over here because she's actually punished right now because them grades that just came through.
Ditto.
You know,
Ditto.
I ain't
well, not
feeling
because
it.
of grades, but because of her behavior. But ditto.
So dyslexic.
yeah.
Break that down. What does that look like? Because my cousin was kind of explaining to me, Rashad, before you go all in on being too hard, you may need to understand that she's
She
reading
made-
things a different way and seeing things a
part-
different way.
that
so
part- that
how
part.
was that for you? What's the dyslexic for? How the hell you say it?
Dyslexic, being dyslexic or suffering from dyslexia, they're different. There are different types of dyslexia, and I learned a long time ago that Steve Harvey is actually dyslexic. It can be a learning disability. You could see things or words a different way. You can learn a different way. Like I tell people, I'm 34 years old, and I'm not stupid by a goddamn long shot.
Right.
I learn different. And that was one thing that I had to overcome, like, with not just my daughter's father, but just people in general.
Right.
People would tell me, oh, you're in special ed, you're stupid, you're different, like, you don't know shit, you can't learn. Like, no, I learn different. Fuck you.
Right.
I learn different. And when you learn how you learn, it's a different eye opener. It doesn't mean that necessarily that you don't read well or you don't comprehend things well.
Right.
It doesn't mean that. My reading level may be lower than somebody else's. It just may take me to read a passage twice
Right.
or 3 times versus somebody who is not dyslexic, maybe i.e. yourself. You can read a passage 1 time and get it.
But you know what's dope about that though? I know that you like reading.
I love, but that was a thing that
You like you.
but I had to learn
Okay.
how to love to read because I got teased.
Right.
People used to tell me all the time, you can't comprehend this.
Right.
You can't read this. You don't read good. So I'm making it up. We're in 8th grade. You are on a normal, educated 8th grade, 9th grade reading level.
Right.
But my reading level may be 7th grade,
Right.
5th grade even. But 5th graders can still read.
Right.
I just got to read it a couple of more times
Right.
to get it. It may take me or take someone to read it to me. Like I tell people, I'm an audio visual learner. I'm great with my hands.
Right.
You read it to me, I listen to it. I got it. You read it to me again, I read along, I fucking got it.
Right.
I can do it with my hands. Versus you reading it one time and you be like, okay, I might gotta read it 4 or 5 more times.
Yeah.
It's just the way that I intake the information.
Right.
So we put all these labels and stuff on each other. So my thing is, like I tell people, I'm an audio visual learner. I can read a book. Yes. Can I read a book? If I sit and physically read a book, it may take me a little longer than you. But I'm going to get the book before you and have a different intel than you because I've taken it, I've read the text 3 times, and I've put it in my insight 2 different ways.
And that's what I've learned when it comes down to individuals with
Well, IEPs.
disabilities.
IEP learners.
All right, so
independent learning education. IEP, independent learning education. It's all about how that individual learns something.
But it's unique.
That part is
I've
unique
learned that-
to the person.
I've
That's
learned
what it
that
is. Yeah.
individuals with a different way of seeing and thinking about things, it's actually dope. My mother, she a nurse, and I remember her patient, Chris. He was autistic.
Yeah, I love autistic
That
children.
motherfucker was so fucking smart.
Yeah, it's just
But
the way
Chris
you
would
present.
turn up on your ass,
Yeah.
but he was smart as fuck.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, like you were saying earlier, a lot of people try to downplay individuals who are in special ed or who have some sort of disability, but not knowing the motherfuckers are smart.
And-
they're unique in their own way.
You're
We all
absolutely
have
right.
our different ways of learning, but
Yeah.
let's kind of progress past the teenage years.
Yeah.
So as you enter into your adulthood, because you actually went off to college.
For a
Let's
little
see.
while. For a little while.
Okay.
For
So
a little
what
while.
college did you end up going to?
So, if you want the rundown, I went to Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, aka FAMU, Rattlers. Yes, I was a rattler. But if you want to be completely honest, I ran away to FAMU to get away from the city. I wanted to get away from everything. If I had somebody, whether it would have been a father, my mother, or just the city, or anybody just supporting what I really, really, really wanted,
Hold up.
it would have been different.
Hold up.
But I ran. I did.
We ain't gonna speed past that.
We're not going to speed past that, but that's why I ran. I went to FAMU.
Okay.
I went to FAM goddamn you. All right, all right, all right.
So let's dive into that, because you just mentioned if you had a father figure, but we just learned that you had your stepfather in the household. And see, hold up. This is the thing. Most people don't understand. You can have a father figure in a house, but that man is not a father.
That part.
He more so like a roommate. He more so just somebody who's taking up that space in
That
the
part.
household.
That
He
part.
wants to give that authority and be that father when he see things that needs to be corrected. But when it comes to actually being a father, he actually wasn't there.
Not at all.
So let's break that down. We talk again off camera,
Yeah.
and I was asking you, like, you a red bone. You lighter than everybody in your
yellow.
in your
Hello,
family that I know.
Yellow. I yellow.
So I asked you, I said, have you actually spoken to your real father? And you said, yeah, I know exactly who he is.
Yeah.
So let's kind of dive into that, because I think
That's a bathroom break right there. 'Cause
You gotta go
Jesus.
bathroom break?
I mean, I was gonna say that's a bathroom break right there.
I gotta go bathroom
you
break
want to
too.
talk about my daddy? That's a bathroom break right there. We can talk about daddy. We can cut to
ladies and gentlemen, we got to take a break, man. Listen, again, we're talking personal, baby. We got to go use the bathroom, and then we're going to be right back to you.
because him
It's about to
saying
get
my
real.
daddy.
It's going to get real. Before we took our quick little bathroom break,
Spicy, caliente.
caliente,
Aye.
we was talking about the fact that you actually had a father in a household, or a stepfather in a household,
Yes.
but you still felt as though that your father wasn't present. And see,
He wasn't.
before we go too deep into this, let me rewind it a little bit. Your mother wasn't with your father,
True.
but she was with one of your siblings' dad,
Yes.
who she got married to,
Yes.
who was supposed to have taken the role of being your dad, because he actually adopted you.
Yes.
But you felt as though you still,
Oh,
although
wait. Go back. Because my father signed over his parental rights.
all right, we're gonna get to that. We gonna
That's
unravel.
that. But no,
We
but
gon-
that's why he was able to adopt me.
we gonna
so keep
unravel
going.
that.
Keep
We gonna
going.
unravel that.
Keep going. Uh-huh.
But you had a stepfather
Mm-hmm.
in the household who was supposed to have taken that role as being your father because he adopted you. However, he was not the father that you desired and needed, right?
That part,
Okay.
I guess.
No, we ain't gonna guess. We talking personal, baby. So we go deep dive into these conversations. So am I right and am I wrong?
You're absolutely right.
Okay. So I want you guys to understand and know that there are so many individuals out here, and I actually had a conversation with my electrician. We were out back the other day, and he was saying, "Shaw, my father was there. My father was in the household, but I don't know my father." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, what you mean? Like, what you mean he was there, but you didn't have a father? I don't understand that. Break that down to me." So now here you are telling me the same thing. So you've broken it down. He had his habits. He was there, but he wasn't present as a father. What happened to your real dad? Because your dad is still here in the DMV area.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
what happened? Like, how did you all lose contact? Did your mother keep him away? Did he go MIA? Like, what happened with that?
So one thing I can honestly say, and I honor as my mother, and also as a mother of myself. My mother has never, and I will put that on
She ain't ever talked bad about him.
anything that I stand on now today as a woman of being 34 years old and being a single mother of myself. My mother has never talked bad about my birth
that
father
shit
in
is-
front of me. Ooh,
it
is it hard? Ooh, Father God Jesus.
It's crazy.
Is it hard?
It's crazy because you know what? My mother will, till this day,
Till this day.
no matter
till
how much, I be
this
like, that
day,
nigga ain't shit. Then
we are standing here today, and my
She
daughter
will
should
not.
be with her father, and I'm doing an interview with you all, camera 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My child is supposed to be with her father right now, but she's with me in another room right now. But I will never talk bad about my child's father in front of her or in company where her ears can see. And that is something that my mother has raised me as the same thing.
yeah,
And it is up to my memory as an older woman to put two and two and put the pieces together.
right.
My father wasn't there. My father signed over his parental rights.
This is something that you know for a fact, or
This is something that I have learned as a fact because that is the reason why you are interviewing me as Shannon Jordan
right?
and not as Shannon Wiggins.
Because your dad, your real father,
My
your
biological father,
is Wiggins.
my mother is Wiggins.
Okay,
My father is McNeil.
McNeil. Okay.
He signed over his parental rights so
you-
that my stepfather could adopt me. So now my name is Jordan.
Have you ever? Because I again off camera, you and I have spoken.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here today because
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, this is a perfect episode about
Yeah.
da 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 da. But do you know for a fact that it was his willingness to sign over his rights, or was it something that your mother or your stepfather forced?
So me, I ask questions. And I can honestly say, I don't care what anybody says about my mother. One thing about my mother is my mother's not going to lie to me. My mother can't stand liars, cheaters, and manipulators. And one thing, if I've ever asked my mother flat out, and I said, no matter how much it may hurt me, my mother has never lied to me,
Right.
ever. And to remember and recall, because I have a great memory. I might not remember. One thing that I can always remember is the truth.
Right.
And one thing that I can say, my mother has told me, remember back to this date of such and such and such and such of, and I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a situation where my mother was like, well, if you don't want her, give up your parental rights,
Yeah.
whatever. When I say that I can remember the day, the situation, which was over a bike and some rollerblades, and the fact of my father's father passing, and I wasn't even invited to the funeral because of the woman that he was talking to at the moment that didn't want me there.
So he chose his girl over you.
Over a parental situation at that time.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it as though basically you did not want me.
Yeah.
You wanted the situation to be easy for you.
Right. So as an adult, have you ever taken a time to go back like, yo, like
I have. On my 31st birthday, I'm 34 years old now. I have pictures and everything. I've tried to rekindle this relationship. My father now has 3 daughters with another woman, which was also during this whole time back in the 90s situation going on.
right.
And like I told him, I said, the only thing that I've ever wanted from you in life is just to be honest with me. Keep it 100. And I feel like with most men, it be y'all pride. Not saying you per se, but men. It be y'all pride. When your baby girl just be like, just be honest with me. If you say you fucked up, I just want you to tell me, baby girl, I fucked up.
Well,
This was the situation.
let me-
This was the course. Be honest with me. Keep it 100 with me. Put the dick in the butt with no lube. I'm just saying, if that's what it gotta be honest with me, because I can respect you more as a dad and as a woman. And be like, that might not have been your intentional aspect at the point, but just be honest with me as a woman and your daughter. Be like, this is not what my mind frame was. This is what I thought it was. I can respect that more than you lying to me. And when I asked him that, I did. On my 31st birthday afterwards. And he still couldn't be honest with me. Is when I can't look at you in the face and respect you as a man, as a father figure, anything like that.
Well,
And at the end of the day, as women, as a daughter, as a child, we don't give a fuck how we understand. Y'all was young. We were young. Shit happens.
Right.
We understand that. Women are the most understanding women or creatures. I'm sorry. Women are the most understanding creatures on this planet.
to a certain extent, baby.
No, you're right.
Certain
You're right.
extent.
Because at some point we do spaz. But no, honestly, deep down in the aspects of our hurt, our anger, our pain, our everything, we want honesty.
Well, let me chime in real quick. Let me just, because you're speaking from the same. I'm gonna use the word mindset
Okay.
that I have, and what I mean by that is, I haven't talked to my dad personally in I'm gonna say about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy part is, my corporate office down Southwest, my father lives directly across from it. My father lives about 15 minutes away from here. And so the same way that you feel that, listen, I don't want nothing from you but for you just to tell me really what it is. If you was just fucking my mother, and that was your side joint, say that.
Say that.
I can understand that.
Exactly.
However, with that being said, again, Jamal and I, we were having a conversation last night, and it was an action episode last night. We ain't having it on camera, but I'm like, damn, we needed the cameras. But he was like, how in the fuck do you carry this pride that you have? How are you able to be the father that you are to your daughter and to your son when you really didn't have a father? How can you be the man that you are to your children when you didn't have an example of it? And I told him, I'm like, I am who I am because of who my father was.
That part.
There's no way in hell, as a grown man, I can have children and not do by them. I'm going to say that again. There's no way in hell that I can have children and not do right by them. I don't give a fuck about what happened with their mother. I don't care. I don't care about what happened outside of them, because at the end of the day, when I nutted in your mother and you were born, you're now my responsibility.
That part.
So I concur with you. I told Jamal the same thing. I said, at this point in my life, there is no, well, I'm not going to say there's no repairing, but
no, there is no repairing.
There's no repairing,
no
but
repairing.
If I can say this, if my father were able to put his pride to the side, because he's still waiting for me to call him.
That part.
I have a relationship with his brother, and these things are related to me. He's waiting for me to call him, and it's not going to happen.
No.
Whatsoever.
No.
But if he were to put his pride to the side and have a real man conversation,
that part.
I can respect you more in telling me, listen, son.
That part.
Your mother, we used to get high together. That was my joint.
Yeah.
I was just crushing her, but I had my other joint because my father treated my sister and I differently. He took care of her.
That part.
He made sure she was good.
That
but
part.
me,
that part.
it was on a very small period of time that he made sure I was good. That's it.
I got 3 other
Right?
sisters. Yeah. I got you.
So if he were to come to me and tell me that, I can understand it, because that was my situation. Mother had the best head ever.
Hey.
And I was just crushing her.
And my thing is, I'm going to salute my motherfucking mama for that shit, because that's not about the head. That's where I got it from. Hey, gulp, 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 motherfucker. Hey, I got you, and I get it.
But I would be able to respect you more as a man and say, listen,
but
man,
it's their pride.
that was just my side joint. But the fact that you just totally dismiss
me,
I don't have no respect for you, because at the end of the day,
my life
you
could
were
have
man
been so
enough
much
to
different.
do
You could fuck my mama, but you couldn't do and deal with the responsibility that came behind it.
Yeah.
And I understand that. My daddy was a pretty boy. You see me, I'm ready. I could take this motherfucking sweater off right now. Y'all gonna see my veins. I'm a red ass woman. My daddy was Rico Suave.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell him that he wasn't the hottest motherfucker.
I heard that was a thing back in the day.
Man, let me tell you.
Them red bones was a thing back in the day.
Let me tell you. My daddy was light-skinned, light bright. Can't be right, okay? I take this sweater off right now. You're going to see all my veins.
Yeah.
St. Elizabeth, security guard, toting a gun. Hey, motherfucking deputy dog. You're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But at the same token, I understand that, because it's like, if you was just fucking my mama, just say it. But come to the real, I mean, you want to get deep, then, I mean, that's why my mama never got child support. Because he was fucking the lady down there in child support.
Yeah.
Why? Because she was darker than my mama.
Yeah.
And The Dirty Dozen, Rayful Edmond. We can go all into it.
No. We ain't gonna go there.
No, we
I
not.
do.
We, I was gonna say
I
we
do
not
have a
gonna go-
question though.
But that's what I said. We're not gonna go that high. But
no.
it's all about the color aspect.
Yeah.
When you think about the color aspect, even with these quote unquote Greeks, with these Greeks, it was all a color aspect back then.
Yeah.
At one point in time, AKAs had to be a certain color. They had to be my color.
Oh, red bone. I like middle red.
But
bone. I
my
like the
sister
caramel,
now,
too.
my sister, who is now a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha,
Yeah.
is darker than the both of us. It's all about a color aspect. So when I put on my Instagram, color should not have to display your background, but it does. It really does.
Yeah. Let me ask you this right quick,
Do it.
cause I think we about 2 hours in. Goddamn.
We too.
We gotta go ahead and
Like I said, we
no
can
no
go.
no we going
can
deep
go.
because
We can
this
go.
we still
can
got a
go, baby.
lot of questions. We ain't
We
about to
can
cut
go.
a short either. My question to you is, again, we had conversations off camera.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel as though some of the decisions that you made as an early adult
Mm-hmm.
transferred over from not having your real dad in your life?
Yes. Yes.
Talk about that. What do you feel as though would have been differently
Let me tell
if
you.
if your real dad was there? Because from what I gathered, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I gathered, your stepfather was there, but he wasn't a father.
He wasn't there. He wasn't a father. He was
And-
there. He was a placeholder. Like for those of you all who play chess, he was a pawn. He was a placeholder.
Yeah.
In
So what do you
some
think
way.
different? What would have happened differently? Because you also shared that. Because let's get into it. Because we told him at
If I
the
had a
beginning of the episode we're gonna talk about Sonny.
That need to be a book. If I had a daddy.
Who the hell is Sonny? I ain't never
Ooh,
heard. I ain't never heard of Sonny.
Because you don't know Sonny.
Who
you
Sonny
don't.
is? Talk to
Sonny,
me.
Sonny is a rebirth.
Okay.
Sonny is a rebirth of Shannon,
Yeah.
of Little Psycho,
Yeah.
of a trauma of if I would not have had a daddy. Like, if my father would have been present in life, I really, and I know, things would have been different. If I had that stable male influence, and it wasn't just from teachers or community leaders, because they come and they go.
Right.
But if I had my dad there, I played lacrosse. People of color don't play lacrosse. We don't play soccer. We used to play in football and basketball and maybe tennis because of Venus and Serena.
Yeah.
But no, I played lacrosse. Why? Because of my anger. People like us tend to draw towards violent sports and shit that we can hit and get out our anger. Why? Because we don't have that outlet.
Yeah.
We're told to contain it. We're learned to contain it.
So let me ask you this: when you say if your dad was there, what do you
Let
like?
me tell you.
What do you think outside of, because that's broad. That's a broad statement to say. If my dad was there, things would have been differently. Why do you feel as though if you had that father figure? Because here's the thing, and let's make this clearly and understood.
Men make the world go round.
Okay, and women do too.
No.
Yes, they do.
It's a what's
Hold up, let me finish.
What's the
Let me-
song?
let me
it's
finish.
a man's world. It's a man's world. So regardless of what you want to finish,
I like
it's
that.
a man. It's a man's
I never
world.
heard a woman say
the
that.
song says, back in the day, It's a man's effing world.
I never heard a woman say that, and
And it's nothing that we can't do without y'all, whether we're being submissive to y'all, whether we're learning from y'all, whatever. At the end of the day, it's a man's effing world. We can fight for equality all we want. We can go on and be like, oh, let's do this, let's do that, march, whatever. At the end of the day, the penis holds the power.
Well, goddamn it, ladies and gentlemen, I think we can go ahead and just end it right there. There's definitely a part 2 to come to this.
It is.
I think Miss Shannon Jordan, Miss Sunny is going to be back for a part 2, ladies and gentlemen.
will.
We're going to leave it with
I will.
the dick runs the world.
Hey.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is
It's a
Talking
man's
Personal.
world.
We'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.